Good evening, everyone. It's just before 6:30 on Monday, May the 10th, and unfortunately, I come to you with some severe weather on this Monday afternoon, evening. Nothing terrible, but it's definitely something we need to talk about. And the first thing you may be wondering is, well, golly, Jeff, it's all cool today, and it's not typical severe weather setup temperature-wise. And this is true at the surface; it's not, but as I talked about this morning, just about 2,000 feet above us, it's very balmy and very unstable, and that's why you're seeing these thunderstorms right up and over the cool temperatures we have at the surface. And for them, it's just like a typical spring day, so that's what we're dealing with, and that's why we're dealing with the hail threat. So the current warnings we have right now is we have a severe thunderstorm warning for southeastern Wise County, southwestern Denton County. That's for $half size hail. And then we just had a severe thunderstorm warning for Tarrant County right here. And again, that's for $half size hail. Now, we have seen some of these storms produce up to golf ball size hail. Luckily, we haven't seen a ton of that, but it's definitely a possibility. So we definitely want to keep our eye out on things for the next hour or so. And so let's put this radar in motion and we'll get an idea of what you can expect. So again, the individual motion of the storms is northeast, but the general motion of the line, as you can see, is to the east. So you're going to start to see, especially if you're in Dallas County, Collin County, you're going to start to see these storms move into your area. Now, here's the thing. It's not every single one of these thunderstorms does not contain hail. So that's the good news. We don't have to worry about that. But these storms that have these hail cores, they can put up. We haven't seen, like I said, we haven't seen a lot of instances of golf ball size hail, but we have seen some. But the vast majority of the reports I've seen so far are nickel, quarter, $half ping pong ball, just slightly less than golf ball. So that's what we've seen so far, the vast majority of that. So hopefully that will stay like it is. All right, so let's take a closer look at some of these storms and see what we can expect over the next hour. Let me zoom in here. Okay, so the core that's closest to northern Dallas County, southern Collin County is this particular storm right here. Actually, it's right over the airport as we speak. So let's take a closer look at this. And by the way, there's really no threat of tornadoes or anything like that. So we don't have to worry about that. It's just that it's a hail threat. That's really what we're talking about. Not even much of a gusty wind threat, but that's not totally out of the realm of possibility, but it's mainly a hail threat. All right, so let's take a look at this core right here. So let's put on the hydrometer classification. And luckily, so we don't see a whole lot of hail in this particular storm, which is good. That's probably why we don't have at least not yet, we don't have a warning on it. So we don't really see a lot of hail in that particular storm. So if we move on up here to Denton County, you definitely see some red here. So this is Ponder. And if you're wanting some geographic references for my friends in Denton, and McKinney is right here. So you do see, let me take this off here. So you do see this red. Now the red is not a solid hail core, but it's it does contain some hail. It's really a rain-hail mix. So we kind of scroll down here. So we see maybe some hail up near Salina at the moment, northwest of downtown Frisco, in that vicinity of things. And so let's put on a little bit different mode here. So where you see the white, this is a vertically integrated liquid. Now this is kind of something else we look at as far as if we see some hail. So the white is not necessarily all hail, but it's a pretty good signature for hail, and that's why you see that. And let's expand this back out a little bit here and get back to the reflectivity, because it looks like we have another severe thunderstorm warning. This is for Denton County. So let's see. Golf ball. So golf ball size hail. It looks like, not sure exactly where the golf ball report was, but looks like it's near Justin at the moment. So these individual cores are moving. Take this off here. These individual cores are moving pretty quick, close to 55 or 45 to 50 miles an hour. So, the good news is if you happen to get under one of these hail cores, it won't last very long. But sadly, as we know, it doesn't take long to to do damage, so we don't want any hail at all. All right, so let's expand this out a little bit, and you can see, as we've talked about before, is that I put these hail the layer of these hail contours on here, so you can definitely see where it's hailed before. So there's a storm along just southeast of Weatherford had pretty good little hail there, and again, I think the biggest hail core we've seen is golf ball size. It's like not widespread, thankfully, but definitely $50 and quarter. That seems to be pretty common. All right, so let's put this back in motion here and see what we got going. So again, and you have to remember this particular radar frame might be a little distorted because if you look closely down in the southern part of Tarrant County, that's the radar site, and so the radar site's actually getting poured on pretty good. So that's something that it's probably distorting the radar image a little bit. So where you do see it does look like, hey, it's kind of dying down. Well, not really, because that downpour is right over the radar. So as this storm core gets over the radar site and moves off to the east, you'll probably see a better radar representation. And as a matter of fact, we can change radar sites and see if that doesn't help us here. Well, that didn't really help us. Okay, never mind. I'll give it a shot. So you can kind of see there in that still frame a lot of lightning with these storms. So that's another hazard we have to watch out for is lightning. And so let me see if I can get this back on here. Okay, so again, a couple of storm cores we want to watch for. Like I said, the first one, and it's not anything major, but the first one again is over the Coppell area, not too far from the airport. And then again, we have another small hail core just northwest of Frisco. And again, the radar is a little distorted right now because the storm is going over the radar site, so it's kind of distorting some of this. So as the storm core moves over the radar site and the radar gets a little more clear, this might clear it up a little bit for the better representation of it. So anyway, so let's put this in motion here. What we got, and again, you're going to see a northeast motion for the storm cores, and then you're going to see a general eastward motion of the storms in general. And as soon as my radar wants to go, there we go. You can see that. So again, northeast, east, northeast. So if you are anywhere along the US 75 corridor, right along here, it's about 6:30 now, so you could expect to see these line of storms in your area within the next 15, 20 minutes. And then anything east of 75, you're probably talking closer to 30 to 45 minutes. Now, that's not to say that the storms might speed up, slow down. That happens with Mother Nature. You just don't have an idea of what's going to happen sometimes. But that's our best guess at this point. Okay, so let's take a little bit broader view of things real quick and kind of get you an idea of what's going on. So this is the latest from the Storm Prediction Center, and so what they're showing is that we are in the marginal risk area. Now, remember, that's one category out of 5, so the lowest risk category we have for severe thunderstorms. So again, much like we're seeing, typically that's isolated severe weather, no strong tornadoes, anything like that. They do see a slight risk just northeast of us, and if you may have heard, we had the hail storm that tracked along the Red River this morning, and that's kind of accounted for that. A little bit higher instance of hail there. So if we move on to the tornado threat, again, as I've talked about all day long, there are no really threats of tornadoes for us because that's all in the warm sector. Remember that cold front that came through. The good news about it is it hasn't eliminated the hail threat, but it's definitely eliminated the tornado threat. So no chance of tornadoes with these storms. And then damaging wind gusts, again, this is over 58 miles an hour. Most of that is south of the warm front, so that's why you see that 5% down in southeast Texas, south central Texas, and 15% in the Rio Grande Valley, west of the Rio Grande Valley. And then, but the one that we want to concentrate on is the hail. This is the hail outlook. Now, again, you see 5% for us. pretty typical for this kind of setup. 15% just northeast of us, and you have a 30% chance way down near Del Rio in a hatched area. Now remember, the hatched area is always 2-inch diameter hail or bigger. We don't have to worry about that for us, thankfully, but we can definitely see 1.5 inches or 1.75 inches in some cases, which is golf ball. So not totally out of the question. But so in a bigger picture, that's what we're talking about as far as what we can expect during the overnight hours. Okay, so let's do this. I want to show you the satellite picture because you kind of get an idea of how these storms have blown up here. And let me get that over there. Okay, so these storms show up really pretty from space, not necessarily pretty if you're on underneath one. But, we've had this low cloud deck all day long. You can kind of see that. But then, toward 3 o'clock, you see these thunderstorms erupting on top of these cold air mass, or cool air mass, I should say. And so again, it's just a nice visual to show that you can get severe thunderstorms above stable cool air at the surface, and that's exactly what you're seeing here. So if you can imagine, these are the kind of storms you would see if it had been clear and all that all day long. So it's just one of the fascinating things about nature is that it doesn't have to be warm and humid at the surface to to have these storms. And of course, the storms we have today are hail producers as opposed to tornado producers. So, but you can still have it. So, all right. So I just wanted to show you that cool little visual. All right. So let's put the radar back on here. And see what we got going. Okay. So not a whole lot has changed. Again, the main action right now, let me expand this out a little bit, is Tarrant County. Severe thunderstorm warning there. And then in Denton County, severe thunderstorm warning there. Both of them for hail, not anything other than hail. No tornadoes or no damaging winds. Now, I'm not saying it couldn't get windy, but it's not a big threat. All right, so let's zoom back in on this here. All right, so I don't have a lot of concerns at the moment for hail in northeast Dallas County, south central Cullen County. Now that could change, obviously, but at this very moment, there's not a big threat for that. And I hear my weather radio going off, so we're about to have another warning here any second. Okay, so while we're waiting on that, let me check the comments. Hello, Leslie. How are you? Ashley. Yes, I just saw you, Ashley. Andrew, hey, buddy. How's it going? I think you're in Wills Point, so you'll get this stuff a little bit later. Hello, Patty. Nice to see you. Denise, you're welcome. And I know you're feeling ill, so prayers to you, Denise. Hope you get to feeling better really, really soon. And Paula, hello, Paula. How are you? Paula, let's check on you. Yeah, you got a little bit of nasty stuff heading your way in Corinth, if I remember that's where you are correctly. Billy, hello, cousin. I hope you're doing well. So anyway, I appreciate everybody tuning in and commenting on that. All right, so I don't have, let me check to see here, because I know they just issued another severe thunderstorm warning, but I don't know if I got it on my stuff yet. Let's see. Expand this back out and see what they did. Well, if I could get my radar to move, there we go. Okay, so I am going to have to see what else did they do over here. All right, so okay, there you go. Okay, there's the newest warning. So that's going to be for Johnson and Ellis County. Let's see what they got going on down there. Quarter size hail. Okay, so not that that's great, but remember, quarter size hail is the smallest hail size to meet severe criteria, which is an inch. Now you don't want an inch anyway, but it's the lowest. You don't want any hail actually. Shannon, Weatherford just got hammered with hail. Yeah, I saw that, Shannon. I hope you're okay. I hope you didn't get hammered too bad where you are. So I hope it wasn't too bad, but hang in there. There's nothing around you at the moment, so that's good. Paula just started raining here real quick, or just started raining. Yep. Unfortunately, it might do a little bit more than that. So watch out for that. Okay, so let's put this in motion. I hear another warning going off, so we will wait and see. I think I might know what that one is. That might be for, if I had to guess. Hold on. Yeah, Collin County. That's what I thought. All right, so it'll pop up here in a second. So as you can see, you kind of sense the general theme of everything is that we are starting to see this eastward movement as opposed to northeast. That's not terribly uncommon in these kind of situations. So what we want to watch out for is that as these storms continue to move east and they start making a little bit of a right turn, then that's where we got to be careful about watching the hail sizes and make sure they don't get out of control. So as I always like to say, this is nothing to be terribly concerned about. I think it's just a general level of concern in the sense that yes, there's always a concern when it hails. There's no doubt about that. But we're not talking about the baseball size hail, things like that. But golf ball's bad enough. So let's pop up the Collin County warning here real quick. Okay, so $half size hail, so that is 1.25 inches. So that's good. Doesn't mean you couldn't see something bigger than that, but at least that's what they're thinking so far. Now, as I always like to say, the Weather Service likes to go with the worst case scenario. So I am going to check on my other screen here. I'm going to check the official hail reports to see what we got going on. Let me refresh this here. Okay, so several hail reports from the last 10, 15 minutes in Tarrant County. The common theme is 1 inch in diameter, a couple of 1.25 inches. Now, these are official storm reports. It doesn't mean that it didn't hail bigger or smaller somewhere else. It just means that that's probably a good representation of that. Matter of fact, I'll just share that screen real quick. So hopefully you can make it out. These little square boxes. This is where the hail. They're coming from. These are not the MPing unofficial hail reports. These are the official train spotter hail reports that go to the National Weather Service. So I'm sure there's more hail reports than this, but these are the official ones, which I tend to take more credible because they're trained and they know what to report. So you can kind of see, as Shannon mentioned, definitely some hail reports around Weatherford and Tarrant County, up here in Wise County, and then southwestern Denton County. All right, so let's go back to the radar here and see what we got going on. So as you can see, not every storm has hail in it, so don't worry about that. But these storms tend to, let me get the radar. If I can actually put the screen on there. There we go. So if, these storms have these individual cores, and so if you're underneath the core, then you can definitely have some hail. Now, I will say this. Statistically speaking, and just from a geographic area speaking, if you do see hail, chances are, again, talking from a statistical standpoint, chances are it won't be terribly big. Could be, but it probably won't be. That's number one. And number two, from a geographic area, your chances of seeing hail aren't that great. But again, doesn't mean you want. So I would say the takeaway from everything is that the hail threat is there. It's a big hail threat only in the sense of not so much huge sizes, but it does cover a big geographic area. So, if you're anywhere in Dallas-Fort Worth and really North Texas, you have a chance to see hail. So that's probably the best way I could think to kind of describe the situation. That's one of the reasons I came on live was because, like I said, it's not so much a baseball size hail thing or anything like that, but there's so many people in North Texas that can see hail at any time, because again, this is not a typical severe weather setup. It's not where it was sunny and hot all day, and then it got cloudy and it got really dark, and then it's not that kind of setup. So it's been cloudy all day, and so you look outside now, it's like, oh, okay, well, it's a little darker, but hey, it's been doing this all day, so it's not going to do anything. So I just want to make sure that you were aware that if you do have a storm in your area, that you could see some hail. That's really all it really comes down to. It's and it could be up to golf ball size. That's been a rare report lately, but hopefully it'll stay that way. All right, so let's put this in motion here and see what we got going on from a from a movement standpoint. All right. So again, like you said, so this goes back about 2 hours, and you can see this general east-northeast motion. And again, you see these hail contours, and this is hail that's already occurred. So again, like I said, nothing huge, but you can definitely see some hail in some of these storms. Now, the one thing I would say, if we stop this, overall, they're not ramping up too bad, so that's good. But so let's go county by county here real quick and see what we got going on. So for our buddies in Denton County, most of the county is having some type of thunderstorm, that's for sure. And if we put the hail hydrometer classification on it, yeah, that's good. So you don't see. Remember, red is the lowest tier in this color palette that would indicate hail, and even the red category in this color palette actually is a mix of hail and rain. So that's why you see pea size and marble size when you see the red. You have to get it to the darker red and the yellow to see really big hail or a big concentration of red. So that's something else you want to look for. So the good news is, in the green is just good old fashioned really heavy rain. So that's good. So that's Denton County. And again, just for reference, I know it might be hard to read, but that's Denton, and that's McKinney. So I would say if you're in McKinney and if you're in that area, then you're going to see some heavy rain. You might see some hail up near Melissa. There's a little bit of hail going on up there. Like I said, these do pulse up and down, so it's something that it's just something that it could pop up out of nowhere, the hail core, and then just go into nothing. So Denton County, you're pretty much socked in with storms. So but nothing bad, so that's good. So over McKinney area, Collin County, again, right now you don't see a lot of red, so that's good. But again, if you get one of these heavier storms, don't be surprised if it does hail. But hopefully it's of the smaller variety. So that's the warning for Collin County. I don't know if they've updated the warning yet. Let's see. Nope, they haven't updated it yet. For Denton County, let's see if they've updated that warning. No. All right. So again, it looks like the hail sizes have come down some, so that's good. All right. So let's go down to Dallas County, which doesn't have a warning at the moment, and it looks like they just got rid of the Tarrant County warning. Tarrant County warning. Say that fast. So that's good. So nothing really, no red on this map. So let's go back to the traditional radar. And so the good news is that, and we'll expand this out. Although again, we have some rain around the radar site, so we have to be careful about the representation of it. All right, so let's look at the comments I missed here. Let's scroll back up here. Connors, yes, you're in Wiley. Well, we don't have any hail in Wiley yet. Hopefully we won't at all, but I see that you're ready, so that's good. It's sprinkling at my house too here in Saxby. Misty, thank you for your comments. I appreciate that. You're not in the firing range today, Misty, so good for you. Jason Bird coming down Lantana. Yeah, Denton County has gotten a pretty good little storm there. Let's see. Windy. Okay. Windy in Lantana, 30 mile an hour gusts. Okay. And that's not, like I said, that's not terribly uncommon with some of these storms. So it's nothing says it couldn't get windy, but I appreciate that report, Jason. Paul, what are you thinking for Saxby and Murphy given, this situation? Well, right now, and this could change, but right now, Saxby, the Northeast Dallas counties, South Central Collin County, that's Saxby, Garland, Murphy, Lucas, Wiley, Rowlett. Right now, we don't have anything that's particularly bad headed our way, so that's good. So hopefully it'll stay that way. Hello, Julian. How's Alan looking? You talking about the weather? No. No, Allen's not looking too bad right now. Now there is a decent. I'm not sure what part of Allen you're in, but probably between Allen and McKinney is a pretty good little storm there. I don't see any big indications of hail, so that's good. So far so good. Okay, Jason Bird and Lantana pea-size hail. Okay, good. That's good. Well, not good you got hail, but it's good it's not that big. Misty, oh, you're welcome. Yeah, you don't, at least for now. Now, and again, Misty's a dear friend from high school, and she's down southeast of Dallas, Fort Worth. And now, Misty, let me clarify what I said. It's not to say that you won't get anything, but you don't seem to have the issues we're going to have tonight, so that's good. But always be aware, you know that. And I'm going to help keep you aware, so don't worry about it. You're welcome, Paula. I appreciate that. And thank you, Paul. I appreciate your comment. Okay, so it looks like for now I'll sign off. But here's some takeaways for the next 30 minutes to an hour. Believe it or not, you may be in an area that doesn't see a whole lot. That's not wouldn't be uncommon at all. Also, you may be in an area kind of like Paula talked about in Corinth, and Jason talked about in Lantana. You could definitely see some pretty stormy weather. So it's unfortunately it's going to be kind of an all or nothing type thing, it seems like. So that's one takeaway. Another takeaway is that you could have a fairly benign type storm over you, and then all of a sudden it could ramp up really quickly. So keep that in mind. You're definitely going to see some lightning and things like that, and so that's something else. Don't be outside looking at it. Even I'm not going to do that unless I'm in my car. So that's another takeaway. Like I said, it's not a traditional, typical severe weather setup to where it's going to be tornadoes everywhere, big hail everywhere. It's going to be a little stormy with some hail. Just a bigger chance for hail than it normally is. All right, so let's zoom out here one more time before we go. And so I did want to point out a few things, and again, in the bigger picture. And since this loads up here. Okay. So the one thing I did want to point out is, as you can see, we have some action going on in Dallas, Fort Worth, North Texas, and quite a few severe thunderstorm warnings for hail. But you do see some development back this way, and then you see some bigger stuff on the other side of the front down here. If you put this in motion, so this is what, in a bigger picture tonight, this is what we'll have to watch out for. Since the atmosphere right at the surface for us is fairly cool and stable, again, that eliminates the tornado threat and overall, a big wind gust threat. Not that you can't have gusty winds, but the really bad stuff, you probably wouldn't see a lot of that. So our big, relatively speaking, our big severe weather threat again is hail. So the biggest report I've seen is golf ball size, but that hasn't. I think there's just one report of that. The vast majority of it is, $50, inch, quarter, things like that. So if you go back and look at the circled area I have on the radar, is that this is where I'll be watching this evening for development. And then now this loop is a 2-hour loop, so this is going back 2 hours. As a matter of fact, let me stop this. So, you see this development. So you're going to have this conveyor belt type situation to where, you're going to see more storms. Now, having said that, is that it's one of those things that, is it going to be hailing all night? No, it's not going to be hailing all night. But by the same token, it might be stormy. Now, not that you're going to be up all night, but, it's just going to be that type night. Not anything, terribly severe. It's just something that, we'll just have to keep our eye on. And I'll definitely keep an eye on it. So let me check the comments real quick. Yeah, Paula, we'd like to go outside and look at the weather. Yeah, I sure can't throw stones about that because I'll be the first one. I'm just saying, if you do, just be careful. Okay, so with that, I will sign off. I will check the comments on social media as well. And as always, if something ramps up and it gets a little more dire than it is right now, I'll definitely pop back on. But again, the takeaways are there's nothing to be terribly alarmed about. You might see some hail. The unlucky few of us might see some bigger type hail. Hopefully not. Just if you don't see hail, then if you see any rain, if you see rain at all, which most of us will see rain between now and the end of the event, then you will, you'll just see some rain and some storms, if you will. And I think most of us will just take a good old-fashioned storm as opposed to the hail and everything else that goes with it. And we are in a little bit of a drought situation, so, the rain's actually good. So there's we got that going for us. All right. I'm watching the weather, so you don't have to. I appreciate everyone watching. I appreciate the comments. And unless it gets stormy again later tonight, we will talk to you tomorrow. But if it does get stormy later tonight, we'll talk to you tonight. Regardless, I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching.